Hi everyone. So I was recently, when going to school, I was on the subway, and as always, the subway is just such a depressing experience, and I understand why the people look so miserable in there, and it just tears down your soul, and it can easily ruin your entire day just walking on that shit. But anyway, so I was standing because there's a lot of people, and yeah, I was standing, and there was this guy. He was probably like 175, 69 kilos, little skinny fat. Although I couldn't see it, but yeah, I just had that. I got that impression based on his conversation with his wife. So I'll explain what I mean. So I was standing there, and he was talking on his phone, and it was obvious to me that he was talking to his wife, and they were arguing about. He was maybe in his 40s, and they were arguing about who's gonna pick up the kids. Who's gonna pick up the kids from school or from preschool? And I couldn't hear the wife's voice, but I could sense that she didn't respect him at all. She didn't respect him, and probably his kids neither. Probably the kind of dad who like changed his kids' diapers. And I could see in his eyes, he was just so miserable. His entire existence was being a cuck to his wife. He probably goes to some semi-slave job, and yeah, slaves away, like a wagey. And yeah, he was just I could see in his eyes, he was like, if you have watched Fight Club, so like Edward Norton, these people who, it looks like they have insomnia, but they don't have insomnia. It's just that their lives are so mundane, so repetitive, so devoid of any adventure, any conquest. And so what's the lesson from this? The lesson is that is, I would say, at least 90%, depends on how you see it. I could probably make a case for that it's 99% plus of men, or let's say men over 30, that live these miserable lives. They get it like a 6. They have some kids, like 2 kids, 1 daughter and 1 son. So he's got 1 son. That son is playing fucking video games and eating Cheetos and playing some gay ass sport, not doing any fighting at all. Just imagine being that person. Imagine, to me, that's like the worst pain I could experience. Imagine being the dad who takes time off to be home with his kids. I mean, when I say this, people will say, well, you're such a bad person, dads should be the role models for the kids and take care of their kids. But I don't agree with that. So in Sweden, where I'm from, there is this law. Basically, it's not a law, but it's a regulation. So it's basically a law because you get some money if you lose money if you don't follow this law. And so it's basically that if you take out time with your kids as a dad, then you get money, and if you don't, you lose money. And so most people do that, and they have, like, I think between 4 or 6 months that are compulsory. They call it compulsory for the dad, or for each parent, I guess. And like, that's just too humiliating. Why shouldn't the dad be out here, be out conquering villages, slaying dragons, getting back the gold from the dragon's nest, and showing it to his woman, and his woman adoring him, and his kids looking up to him? Why shouldn't that be the case? Why should he be at home changing diapers, watching fucking Peppa Pig, and doing some other bullshit with his kids? Inevitably, that will make them lose respect for him, and he will inevitably be more or become more childish, more infantile. Like a mother becomes more sensitive when she has kids. If the father spends too much time with the kids when they're young, then he becomes much more sensitive, much more feminine as well. That's my belief. And then maybe when they're like ready for sports, he can take them and show them some sports, show them some martial arts, show them how to kick people in the faces and make them unconscious, teach them how to be big and strong, lift weights, how to build mental resilience, and so on. So there's a place for that, but definitely not like this guy picking up his kids from daycare or preschool. I don't know. So to me, that's the nightmare. That's so imagine this: the life of 99% of men over 30 is a nightmare, at least for me. So that creates an immense sense of desperation and urgency. And I think that if you don't instill the same sense of urgency in your mind and in your life and in your actions, then you'll just become like the narrator in Fight Club, like a guy with like you won't even have insomnia, but like most people who just you look at their faces, they're so you can see in their eyes, so depressing, man. And that's why they go to the pubs every Friday with their male friends, because that's the only way they can get away from that. So this I come to think about now when I'm saying this, we study in school, we study molecular neurobiology, it's called, and it's basically about drugs and transmitters and nerve cells and so on. And I've noticed that most drugs, like cannabis, like alcohol, even alcohol is maybe it's a bit different because it can make you aggressive, and I think it's the only drug that makes you aggressive. But opium, all of the drugs. I'm not a big drug person, but I don't do drugs myself, obviously, because that's disgusting, and you're not a man if you do drugs. Doesn't mean you can't love yourself, because you should love yourself, but you should realize that there's a way out of there. But either way, so what I notice about drugs is that most drugs, they don't just make you happier. So there's a thing called excitatory effects, and then there is inhibitory effects. And most drugs have inhibitory effects, meaning that they make you more relaxed. They make you feel less, and if you feel less, then that's gonna make some of the pain go away. So where am I going with this? Most people's lives are so shit that the best part of their lives are as far away from their life as possible. So they want to get away from their own life, from reality. That's the highlight. So I mean, that's just insane. So the highlight of your life, what you do every Friday in the pub with or at home watching some American football with some beer cans. So the highlight of your life is literally to get away from life, and that's most people. So that's why I'm so I won't say scared, but I have a deep sense of urgency, because I can't end up like that. It just can't happen. It won't happen. I need to go to war, because that's what I feel. War. That's what's on my mind. I've been feeding the faith. and I've been starving to doubt. And there's no doubt in my mind that I'll show these motherfuckers who I am. And yeah, that's a paraphrasing from the marvelous one, Marvin Hagler, legendary boxer. But yeah, you have to have that mindset of really showing the world that this is not you. The guy that's going to school or going to the job day in, day out, and the highlights of your life are just to get away from reality. That's, if you don't show yourself and show others that you're not that guy, you're not that miserable, insomnia affected or insomnia type of guy with no ambition, that then you'll just fall victim for anything that gives you hope. Any pornography, any drugs, because they give you a false sense of excitement, a feeling of excitement. So yeah, hell is awaiting you. So you can imagine this: you're driving in your car on a road, and hell is right in front of you. So if you don't make a dramatic shift, if you don't make a 180, or if you don't make a radical turn in your life, then hell will await you. Yeah, okay, thanks for listening, and go out there and conquer.